Well, greetings, friends. In our reading today, we find Bezalel and Aholiab beginning the work on the tabernacle and on the furniture of the tabernacle. And the scripture said the people gave supplies for the furniture and for the tabernacle. They gave so much that Moses had to say, stop. Now, that's a pretty good problem when people are giving so liberally. But there's a brief section before the work begins that God reminds them. It's in chapter 35, verses 1 to 3, and it's about the Sabbath day. Now, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy is the fourth of the 10 commandments. We find it in chapter 20. It is interesting to me how God kept reminding them of this principle or this command of the Sabbath day. We find it in chapter 23, verse 12. We find it in 31, verses 12 to 17. We find it now in 35, 1 to 3. It's important to recognize that God is interested in us taking a day of rest. It's for our own good. In the New Testament, Jesus said that man isn't for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath is for us. Everybody needs a rest. Everybody needs both physically and emotionally. Even the animals, the scripture said, needs a rest, and we need to keep that day holy. Now, in the Old Testament days, the Sabbath day was the seventh day, which was on a Saturday. Now, in the New Testament, the New Testament believers began to meet together on the first day of the week, and that was the day of resurrection. And so that became the New Testament Sabbath, the first day of the week. But regardless, whether it's on the seventh day, the first day, every man needs a day of rest. Every creature needs a day of rest. The scripture said on the seventh day, God rested. And if God needed rest, you and I need rest. So it's very important, my friends, that we remember the Sabbath day, that we take a day of rest and we keep it holy. Now, in the New Testament, we find certain things that people did on the Sabbath. We're going to talk about that later. But my emphasis today is this. We need a day in which we separate from the rest of the days to keep it holy and to take a day of rest. And in our culture today, many people don't do that. We find most businesses don't take a day of rest, but I commend Chick-fil-A for what they do, and I believe God has blessed them for it. I had a friend of mine who closed his restaurant on Sundays, and God blessed him doubly for his honoring the Sabbath day, taking a day of rest. So I encourage you, try it. If you're not taking a day of rest, if you're not taking a Sabbath day, you try it, and you're going to find that God's going to bless you. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.